Her name was Amira. She was just 12 years old, and she was sleeping on a park bench, alone, cold, pregnant. The night air wrapped around her like ice, sharper than usual, for early spring, far beyond the trees. The city lights blinked like stars, but here, in the center of the park, it was dark, lonely, silent. A single wooden bench stood beneath a flickering lamp. On it lay a small figure, curled up, trying to disappear from the world. Amira, just a child, but with the weight of the world inside her. Her belly rose and fell beneath a stretched pink t-shirt. Her breaths, uneven, her arms wrapped tightly around herself. Torn jeans clung to her skinny legs. Her knees were scraped, her shoes battered, laces broken. Her braids were messy, her face covered in dirt and dried tears. And beside her, one thin pillow, all she had managed to grab. When they threw her out, she kept her eyes closed. But she wasn't sleeping. Sleep was a luxury. Fear had stolen it. Shame buried it. 6 nights. 6 long nights. On this same cold bench. Under the same cold sky. She hadn't spoken to anyone. She hadn't eaten properly. She hadn't felt safe. Even once. But the baby inside her, it still kicked. Softly. Like a tiny voice saying, "I'm here." And Amira would hold her belly, close her eyes, and cry, because she was 12, because she was alone, because no one cared. No one had come to find her. No one was looking. No one even knew she was missing. And that night was just another night, another chapter in her silent pain. But what she didn't know was that tonight, everything was about to change. Just 6 days ago, Amira still had a home. It wasn't perfect, but it had walls, a roof, a bed, and even if love was absent, at least she wasn't cold. But everything changed when her belly could no longer be hidden. The moment her stepfather saw it, his face turned red. His voice exploded through the small apartment. "You disgrace. You will not stay here another night." His words were like thunder. Loud, sharp, final. Amira stood frozen, her heart pounding in her chest. She looked at her mother, searching for help, for softness, for anything. But her mother stood still, silent, cold. Her eyes avoided Amira's. Her lips pressed into a hard, thin line. "Mama?" Amira whispered. Her voice cracked. "Please don't send me away. Please." Tears streamed down her cheeks. Her hands trembled. She was 12, pregnant, terrified, but her mother just turned her face to the side, as if she didn't know her at all. Then it happened. Her stepfather grabbed her arm. Tight, hard. She didn't fight, didn't scream. She just cried, quietly, like a broken doll being tossed away. As he dragged her toward the door, she snatched one thing. Her pillow, the only piece of comfort she had, a soft reminder of something that used to feel safe. The door slammed shut, loud, final, like a coffin lid closing. She stood in the hallway, barefoot, lost, pregnant, and just like that, she was no longer a daughter, no longer someone's child. She was nothing. That night, she walked, and walked, and walked. No destination, no one to call, no one to trust. She passed strangers, but didn't speak. She saw shelters, but didn't go in. Fear, shame, silence. They wrapped around her like chains. Her tiny feet carried her to the park, where at least no one would ask questions, no one would judge, no one would scream. The bench was cold, but it didn't yell, didn't hit, didn't lie, and so it became her home. Night after night, the same wooden seat, the same flickering light above, the same growing pain in her heart. Each time the baby moved inside her, she whispered, "I'm still here." But even she didn't believe it. 6 nights, no food, no warmth, No safety. Only one pillow. And 1,000 fears. But as the seventh night fell, something in the air changed. And Amira didn't know it yet. But someone was about to see her. Really see her. Across the park. Footsteps echoed. Not hurried. Not loud. Just steady. Measured. A tall man in a dark blue suit walked slowly down the path. Hands in his pockets. Eyes on the ground. Lost in thought. His name was Alexander King. Millionaire. Businessman. Known for ruthless deals. And an even colder heart. But tonight, he didn't feel powerful. He didn't feel rich. He felt restless, empty, heavy. He had just left a charity gala, full of smiles, fake speeches, hollow promises to help the poor. And yet, here he was, walking alone through the cold, searching for something, though he didn't know what. Then he saw her, a small shape on a bench, still, silent, vulnerable. At first, he assumed it was just another runaway. He had seen many, but as he stepped closer, the details came into focus. A child, no more than 12. Her skin was dark. Her face, young. Her belly, swollen, pregnant. His breath caught. He stopped walking. For a moment, he just stared. His heart, aching in a way he hadn't felt in years. A pregnant child, sleeping alone in the cold. How could this happen? How had the world let her fall this far? How could any parent abandon? This, he stepped forward slowly, carefully, uncertain what to say, what to do. Would she be scared? Would she run? Was it even safe to approach? But then, she moved. She turned her face slightly toward him, and in that flickering streetlight, he saw everything. The fear, the pain, the exhaustion, the truth. He could not walk away. Taking a slow breath, he stepped toward the bench. Kneeling slightly, he kept his voice low, gentle, warm. "Young lady, are you all right?" Her eyes snapped open, wide with terror. She sat up fast, backing away, shaking. "Don't hurt me, please," she cried out. Alexander raised both hands, palms open, voice soft. "No one is going to hurt you. I promise. You're safe." Her breathing was sharp, panicked, but she didn't run. Not yet. There was something in his voice, something different. Not pity, not power, kindness. She looked at him, still unsure, but listening. "What's your name?" he asked. "Amira," she whispered. "How old are you?" 12. The word hit him hard. 12. "And where's your family?" Her eyes filled again, tears rising like a flood. "They kicked me out because of the baby," she said. Her voice cracked, and his heart broke. He looked at her, not as a stranger, not as a businessman, but as a human being. "Amira," he said softly, "will you trust me? Let me help you. You shouldn't spend another night out here." She hesitated. Of course she did. The world had taught her not to trust. But something in him felt different. And slowly, gently, she nodded. He stood and held out his hand. Her tiny fingers, trembling, slipped into his. And in that single moment, the night, the story, her life changed forever. Later that night, Amira was resting, warm, clean, safe. Alexander walked quietly into her room. He sat beside her, not as a stranger now, but something more. "Amira," he said gently, "I know you've been through a lot." She looked down, staring at her hands, silent. "If you want to talk," he continued, "I'm here." There was a long pause. She didn't speak, didn't move. The weight of truth was heavy. Then in a small, broken voice, she whispered, "You won't get mad?" "Never." Alexander replied softly, "Nothing that happened is your fault." Her lips trembled. She took a deep, shaky breath. It was My stepbrother, she said. Alexander's heart dropped, but he stayed calm. For her, he was 16. When my mom wasn't home, he would touch me. Tears ran down her cheeks. I told her, but she said I was lying. She said I was trying to ruin her marriage. Alexander closed his eyes, silent rage in his chest. They sent me away. She choked out. And now, I don't know what will happen to the baby. He reached out, gently held her hand. Listen to me, Amira. None of this is your fault. You are brave. You are strong. And from now on, you are not alone. I promise you that. Tears streamed down her face. But this time, they weren't just from pain. They were from something new. Hope. The days that followed passed in a blur. Alexander stayed by her side. He made arrangements. Doctors, therapists, nutrition, every care she needed. The baby, despite everything, was healthy. So was Amira. Though she was malnourished, traumatized, wounded, but healing, Alexander spoke with lawyers, with social workers, and quietly, he began the process of gaining full guardianship. There was never a question of sending her back. Months passed. Amira got stronger. She smiled again. She laughed again. Her eyes, once hollow, began to glow. And when the time came, she gave birth to a healthy baby girl. She named her. Alexander was right there, holding her hand through every moment. When she held her daughter for the first time, she looked up at him through tears. Thank you, she whispered. You saved both of us. But Alexander only smiled. No, Amira, you saved yourself. I just made sure. The world finally saw how brave you are. With his help, Amira returned to school, special classes, private tutors. She studied hard and raised her baby. Years later, she stood proudly at her high school graduation. With little hope in her arms, Alexander stood in the crowd, her legal guardian, her mentor, her family. And though life had once been cruel to her, it had also shown her kindness in the form of one man who refused to walk away. And whenever someone would ask Amira, what's your story? She would smile softly and say, sometimes all it takes is one person to change everything. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to give a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more emotional, dramatic, and unexpected tales. And let us know in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? We love hearing from all of you. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious.